All right, my dear Americans, this is what J.D. Vance said to Europe in 2025.
I hope that's not the last bit of applause that I get, but we gather at this conference, of course, to discuss.
J.D. Vance, at the age of 40, was sworn in as Vice President of the United States. Just a month later, he was in Munich, taking center stage in the arena of international diplomacy. Speaking to an audience of elected officials, diplomats, and high-ranking officers, Vance delivered a message, or rather, a warning.
To provide for its own defense. The threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is the threat from within. The retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values, values shared with the United States of America. As Pope John Paul II once said, "Do not be afraid." We shouldn't be afraid of our people, even when they express views that disagree with their leadership. Thank you all. Good luck to all of you. God bless you.
I can't fault J.D. Vance's reasoning or even his diagnosis of European politics. Here's the alarming part. What J.D. Vance is warning the Europeans about is actually happening in the United States as we speak. Let me start with this. You know this guy? Sadiq Khan. He's been the mayor of the West's most prestigious city, London, since 2016. At the start, he presented himself as a moderate lipstick Muslim. He would hang out with the LGBTQ people. He would even hold a glass of champagne with other people. He was criticized a lot for it, and then people were wondering whether that's alcohol or that's apple juice, who knows. Besides the point, the idea was clear. Him being a Muslim should not matter, and the gullible Westerners accepted it. After that, fast forward today to 2026, post the general election of 2024, there are close to 25 Muslim MPs, i.e. lawmakers, in the United Kingdom, in the House of Commons. But more worryingly, look at this bit. There are currently 19,273 councillors across the United Kingdom, out of which 500 of them are Muslims. You might say, well, Harris, we already know that, and the situation is not really that different in other European countries as well, Germany and France, and who knows. But America is different, right? J.D. Vance is warning the Europeans about the infiltration of Islamists, Islamic politics. Well, I have news for you, America. You are just 10 years behind the United Kingdom. Why am I saying that? Look at this. Know this guy? The smiling assassin, Mamdani. Very similar to Sadiq Khan. Moderate Muslim, doesn't have a bushy beard, hangs out with the LGBTQ people, but there's a slight difference. He also goes to mosques. He even recites Muhammad, albeit in English. That distinction is important because that's how they start. So there are currently 4 Muslim representatives and 0 Muslim senators, which is about to change. Andre Carson, I don't know about this guy. I'm assuming he doesn't bring Islam into US politics or into his politics. Maybe that's why we haven't heard of him. But we have heard of the next 2 names, Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. One from Minnesota, one from Michigan, and then there's another one, Latifah Simon. I've heard of her here and there, but nothing major. No Muslim American has ever been elected to the US Senate. The number is growing. We now have this guy who is, in my opinion, well, I'm take it with a pinch of salt because I'm no expert in US politics, but I was looking at the polls, and currently I think he is likely to win over Mike Rogers, but who knows? I don't know. I am only looking at what happens if he becomes the first Muslim senator. He's not like Sadiq Khan, who even pretends to be LGBTQ pro or pretends to have a glass of champagne. Nope. He's not even like Mamdani, who also pretends to be pro-LGBTQ and socialist and whatnot. This guy has socialist credentials, but he is not afraid to show not only his aggressive side, but also his Muslim side. Look at this. Listen to this bit.
Americans in the country. Now, you might not hate race Muslims, but I'll tell you, Muslims definitely hate you. All right, Shree?
Did you hear that? Let's watch it in full context.
So I grew up in this state, and you can imagine going to school with a name like mine, you get a fair share of bullying. The fact is that I just don't pay attention to bullies. It's not worth it. But here's the thing.
Well, those bullies must have done something amazing that this is where you are. You're running for Senate.
One of the biggest frustrations that I've had is that the assumption that there should be some sort of association between me and some dastardly group functions simply.
Dastardly group. You have to understand the implications, okay? Yes, fair enough. In any closed democracies, groups will form. You will oppose, you will disagree. As long as all of those groups are working towards a shared view, that is, it could be anything. One nation under God, one nation under a constitution, could be any of that. It does not have a foreign agenda. It does not have an issue of foreign loyalty. For example, you're okay to disagree with your fellow Democrats on their economic policy or their health policy or their education policy. It's all okay to disagree with all of those things because you have your own vision for America. But what is not okay, that if you believe in your heart that this US Constitution is evil, inherently evil, and we need to replace it with something else, that's a foreign agenda. Could be Islamism, Sharia, or communism. There were some communists in America too. I say bring back McCarthyism. I don't know. I'm not going to apologize for it. Nothing should be higher than the US Constitution. Nothing should be higher than that. We should never have to get to the level where we have to employ some really heavy measures to keep our constitution in check, because at the end of the day, democracy is governed through moral high ground. If you're morally bankrupt, then no matter what story or what idea of nationhood you're selling, it's not going to work. For example, Nazism, it didn't work out because, it was bound to fail. But if people collectively agree on the fundamental values of the United States that were determined by the founding fathers of America, then that's how it should be. Then we all should work under it. These people are not working under it. They're working against it. And I'll play more videos and that would prove my point. But look how, as I said, this is not Sadiq Khan. Sadiq Khan would never say anything like what he just said or what he's just about to say. Even Mamdani wouldn't so carelessly let his mask slip. Check this guy, because this guy is an Islamist. The other guys, there might be, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that they are serving as a stepping stone for people like him. That's the danger part. I don't know what's in their hearts. I don't know if they are genuinely Islamists or not. I don't know. Maybe they might be confused themselves. They might think that socialism and their Muslim identity can go hand in hand. They might believe that. But this guy is not a socialist. As Trump said, he is a communist and he hates America, the American way of life.
On the fact that I choose to pray a particular way. It is implicitude that is used to raise the scepter that has everything to do with context. Now, here's the thing. What frustrates me more is not that you have blatant racism on the part of certain people, but what frustrates me more is, in the words of Martin Luther King, is that one of the most dangerous aspects is not when bad people speak out, it's when good people fail to speak out. And what I have not heard is the Republicans on this panel decisively and swiftly call out this kind of Islamophobia.
The reason why no one else is calling out the so-called Islamophobia, because that thing does not exist. See their grievance? The wider American society is not a victim nor a perpetrator of Islamophobia, whatever that thing means. It's a thing of no interest for American society. America is not an Islamic country. It's not a Muslim country. It doesn't care about Islam. The only reason why we are having this debate in America now, after this debate destroyed Europe, and it has now set its sights on American society, is because 2% of America is Muslim. 2%. Insignificant. Name me any other community that is 2% or thereabouts that makes as much noise as this. You might say Jews. You might be tempted to say Jews. But Jewish people are not working to dismantle America. They're not. Yes, they have their own agenda, which is perfectly fine. They want to make sure that Israel exists and they have the world's most powerful country's support. I'd do that too. If Muslims were doing that from their Muslim countries, I wouldn't be as alarmed as I am now, because these guys have come in and now they want to go in their own tangent. They want to reshape America and American politics in their image. So he's basically saying that, and he's quoting Martin Luther King. I doubt Martin Luther King will agree with his definition of Islamophobia. He's basically leading up to this point that, bad people are saying bad things, but good people need to say something back. And look what he says.
This kind of racism in the context, right, that they are running to represent a state that has the highest per capita number of Muslim Americans in the country. Now, you might not hate Muslims, but I'll tell you, Muslims definitely hate you.
You might not hate Muslims, but Muslims definitely hate you.
Number of Muslim Americans in the country. Now, you might not hate Muslims, but I'll tell you, Muslims definitely hate you.
And we know that, guys.
All right, Sri? Americans in the country. Now, you might not hate Muslims, but I'll tell you, Muslims definitely hate you.
Muslims definitely hate you. This is the aggressive version of Islam. So first, it was a softy, liberal Muslims who could easily fool the lefties. Oh yeah, look, Sadiq Khan drinks alcohol. He's pro-LGBTQ. He raises LGBTQ flags. Well, they tried that again in the West's second most, or probably the New World's most important city, New York. London and New York. Historically, at least in the Anglosphere countries, they are unarguably the most important cities in the Anglosphere world. They've got them to make a point. I'm not saying that they're president. I'm not saying they can just destroy London and New York. Well, not any more than what Sadiq Khan has already done. But these people are proving to be stepping stones. Check this out. Look at this woman. Red State, Mississippi appoints first Yemeni Sharia hijabi judge and immigration attorney who legalize illegals. So this woman has spent a better part of her life legalizing illegals, people who break US's immigration laws, who come into America illegally, disrespecting American laws, disrespecting the will of American people. She goes against them and she legalizes them. There's a saying in Urdu, it's called, they're attacking the roots of the tree, proverbial tree. So that's what they're doing. They're actually going for your roots. They're not just cutting off your branches. They're going for your roots. Asma A. Ali, a full hijab-wearing immigration attorney who built her career guiding illegal entrants and visa overstayers onto citizenship paths without ever needing a green card, now sits on the municipal bench. Imagine where her loyalties lie. Within hours, the Yemeni community pages were gushing with pride. America is being conquered from within. Within, what J.D. Vance said, the biggest threat to European stability and continuity is a threat from within. What is this, guys? What is this? They are telling you. This is the same woman who extracted an Arab American Heritage Month proclamation from Republican Governor Tate Reeves. I don't know about that, but I'm just reading from Amy Mack. Publicly defended the Jew-hating Saddam, glorifying Muslim Brotherhood linked Ammar Ghalib. By the way, this guy, Abdul Al-Sayed, his connections with the Muslim Brotherhood are confirmed. There's no doubt about that. His uncle held a big position in the Muslim Brotherhood. He's the former Hamtramck mayor whose nomination as U.S. ambassador to Kuwait collapsed in the Senate in October 2025 amid bipartisan opposition over his record. Of course, Asma A. Ali was at the hearing to stand with him. Cheered radical DSA operative Zohran Mamdani. Asma, see, they all become one. Zohran Mamdani is Ugandan of Indian heritage, speaks Hindi and Punjabi and Urdu, sometimes speaks with an Indian accent and then sometimes puts on this New Yorker accent. Well done. It's a skill. But they all unite together. She's a Yemeni. They don't know anything about each other or about each other's cultures. But there's one thing that unites them. We are all Muslims. If I became a Muslim today and I ran for office, they will support me. They will reach out to me. They will say, hey, how are you going to serve the Muslim Ummah? And Republicans, this is the thing. J.D. Vance is aware of that. J.D. Vance is issuing these warnings to Europe. I would say you need to keep an eye on what's happening at home as well. This is ideological embedding inside the final firewall. Once the red states fall, there is nowhere left to hold the line. America, please do not take it easy. Please do not take it lightly. And look, people always fight back. This is the reason why. Look, check this out. This video is just going viral on social media. A man, an American guy, confronts this Muslim woman and says, "What are you doing in America? You're not allowed to be wearing this." These are individual actions. I do not condone them. We need a bigger solution. We need a higher up political solution so these things don't happen. Americans are well within their rights to be offended at the sight of foreigners coming into America and telling Americans how they should live. Americans are well within their rights to be angry. And I say you need to be more angry. And you need to put pressure on your politicians. Maybe not so much on individuals like that, but watch this.
You live in America. You shouldn't be wearing that shit around your head. You're so fucking weird walking in America like that. There's no sandstorms around here. Go to Mexico like that. See what they do to you.
I fear interactions like these are going to increase, and this is going to push our societies towards a civil conflict. Oh, watch this. Do you want more on this guy, Abdul Al-Sayed? Watch this. Listen to this.
Like, if this is going to destabilize the region, I also want to remind you guys that there are a lot of people in Dearborn who are sad today.
They're sad because the United States Army has killed Khamenei, who is personally responsible for the deaths of hundreds of Americans. Hundreds of Americans. Remember the Beirut bombing? I think 200 Americans died. They were done by the IRGC, and obviously it was done with Khamenei's blessing. This guy is running for your Senate. He is sad that an American enemy died that day, and he's not the only one. And look how clever they are. He's going to say that I'm not going to talk about this because that is going to jeopardize his bigger mission, which is to make serious inroads into U.S. corridors of power.
So, like, I just don't want to comment on Khamenei at all. Like, I don't think it's worth even touching that.
Because it's going to attract a lot of heat, which is not good if they have a bigger mission, which is to conquer America, increase their numbers.
So, like, if this is going to destabilize the region, I don't think it's worth even touching that.
So this is what's happening, my dear Americans. It's no time to be complacent because the days of thinking that this is only happening in Europe and America is different. And no disrespect, I totally acknowledge that America is a very different country from the UK, and the UK is very different from Australia. We all have our own limitations and challenges, but we also have to acknowledge the fact that all of our Western countries are suffering from suicidal empathy and lefty politics, which is not entirely built on suicidal empathy. They have their vested interest too. I think the smarter ones of them, they know that the marriage between the Islamists and the left is only temporary. They're only seeing Western civilization or the status quo as their common enemy. Once they have gotten us out of the way, then they will fight it amongst each other to decide to determine the future of the Western world. But I don't think we should stick around to find out what happens. We need to fight on two fronts.